We'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. We pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Richards and Dr. Lampkins. Are there any agenda additions? Okay. At this time, if there is any citizen in the audience that would like to address this body on any item other than an item that's on the agenda for public hearing today, please go to the foyer, fill out a visitor recognition card, get it to me up at the podium, and you'll be recognized. We have a total of 15 minutes on any particular subject, and any individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. At this time, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 recognition cards in reference to the Confederate flag. We will do 3 minutes apiece, or however you'd like to break that down. At this time, I would like to ask that everyone would silence their cell phones and any other forms of communication that may be audible prior to us kicking off the meeting. So the first person I recognize today will be Mr. Lloyd Thompson. Would you come forward, sir, state your name and address for the record, and you may proceed. You have 3 minutes.
First of all, let me say good afternoon. My name is Lloyd Thompson, 1315 Milam Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71133. Just kind of wanted to put a statement on record. Taking down the Confederate flag, removing it from the courthouse, will open up participation that our parish can move forward. And going forward to make sure that our community understand the importance of us working together and doing the things to make this parish a great parish for the state. Thank you for considering the issue and looking forward to some more comments later. Thank you.
Next we have Ms. Mary Richard. Ms. Richard, would you come forward, state your name and address for the record, and you may proceed. Sorry, Pastor.
Mary Richard, 8 Dudley Square, Shreveport, Louisiana. Our public buildings, I believe, are symbols of the ideals of our people and our nation, and just as our flags are symbols. Our nation is founded on nothing else, freedom and justice for all people. Even though these were very much ideals when our country was founded and slavery was an accepted reality, we've grown into those ideals. The Confederate flag is an important part of the history of our nation and of the southern United States, but it doesn't embody for all people the ideals of our nation. Our courthouses especially speak the ideals of justice, and they must be surrounded with symbols that speak of justice and freedom for all people. If we can decide today to remove the Confederate flag from the grounds of our courthouse, it will be a step in the direction of living in further into those ideals of freedom and justice. The cost of the flag from 1951 flying until today has been for a number of people to mistrust the fair and equal meting out of justice in the courthouse. And if we can remove it, we can begin to move forward to realize those ideals more fully.
Thank you, ma'am. Next we have Mr. Mr. Carl Staples. Mr. Staples, would you come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you may proceed.
Good afternoon. My name is Carl Staples, and I'm here to see if we can come upon a decision to say possibly
Sir,
remove.
state your name and address for the record, please.
Carl Staples, 1716 Jameson Street, Shreveport, Louisiana. Okay, I'm here to see if we can come upon a decision to, say, possibly remove the Confederate flag from in front of a court of law because of its contradictory nature or its legacy. It's totally inappropriate in its position where it is now. And hopefully we can come upon some amicable agreement in regards to, say, both sides, those for and those against. Thank you.
Next we have Mr. Sim Roberson. Come forward, sir. State your name and address for the record, and you may proceed.
Pastor Robertson, Pastor Robertson, 224 Lincoln Street.
You say you pronounce that as Robertson?
Robertson.
R-O-B-E-R-S-O-N? Okay, thank you.
Pastor Robertson.
Okay.
My concern today is that our pledge say that it represents liberty and justice for all. And my concern is the Confederate flag at the federal courthouse in downtown Shreveport. And I do believe I've served my country in the Army, and I believe in love America. I think that justice should be served for all. If we're going to be true to our creed and true to our honor, we must honor liberty and justice for all. And I believe that the Confederate flag is a long overdue issue that needs to be considered. And I feel that if the flag is moved from the Court of Justice, then we are serving our nation, our citizens, and Shreveport can become the great city and leading in the nation to do what is right. That all us are equal under God, and that we should remove it and let Shreveport stand as a representative that we do believe in our Constitution, our pledge, and American flag, that we are all be justice and liberty under the laws of our statutes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Reverend Barbara Joel, come forward, please. State your name and address for the record, ma'am, and you may proceed.
Barbara Gerald, 101 Napoleon Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71115. Shreveport is a city that's complex like every other city, and we have some challenging things in our history. Initial impressions are really important for our city as we try to participate in progress and being stronger economically and being innovative, growing with the times. Initial impressions are lasting, and for anyone approaching our courthouse for the first time, the first thing they encounter is a symbol of something in our past that doesn't strike a sense of justice for all. To consider changing that so that the impression of justice is there for everyone who approaches our centers of justice for the first time, I think is significant. And I appreciate y'all taking this into consideration today.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Beaton Kelly. Kelly, would you come forward? State your name and address for the record, sir, and you may proceed.
Mr. President, my name is Benton Kelly, and I live in District 5 out on Cross Lake. And I am here to ask the commissioners. I have already spoken to the commissioner in my district, Mr. Johnson. And my purpose for being here is that I would like to say I'm 80 plus years of age, and I remember when that flag was put up. I've been gone from Shreveport for over 50 years. But anyway, that particular flag is not a battle flag. That particular flag is a flag of the states that were involved in the Confederacy, which Louisiana happened to be one of those states. Unfortunately, it was a sad thing for all of our people in the United States. But the reason for that flag being there is a purpose of one that I think is meant for the African Americans and for the white people in the United States or in the southern part of the states. That flag is there to honor the people who lost their lives during the Civil War. Now, for those of you who are not really particularly familiar with all of the surroundings of everything that took place in that, I'm not a historian, but I'm a reader. And that particular flag is there to honor those people who lost their lives. There were African Americans that were there at that particular time who fought for the Confederacy volunteering, and they lost their lives. Whether it was in Atlanta at the prison camp over there, or whether they were killed during battle. But anyway, my request for you, Mr. President, and you council members, I am asking you, please, do not remove that flag, because it means an awful lot to an awful lot of people. You take the flag, you remove that flag, listen to me and hear me very clearly. That flag that's behind you, Mr. President, the Louisiana flag, if you remove that flag from the Confederacy flag, that was part of the Confederacy. What are you going to do? You're going to remove the Louisiana flag next? I thank you for listening to me and let me speak to you, all of you council members, and you, Mr. President. God bless. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Okay. Are there any other requests? You need to fill out a card, sir. Pardon? Do we have any?
I gave you all of them.
Pardon?
You all have
We can get some, Mr. Everson.
I returned them in.
Oh, here we go. I'm sorry.
To the gentleman there.
Here we go. Okay. All right, let me group them. That's okay. That's that. That's the flag. Willie Bedford. Bradford. Okay. And the flag. Hold up. Let me organize them, please. John David Long flag. Okay, that's it. Okay. All right. We'll go with this one. Okay, next we have. I'm sorry, Mr. Bradford. Let me get. I'll get to you. Next we have Mr. Henry L. Ward. Henry L. Ward.
My name is Henry L. Ward. I live at 445 Jordan Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I am a 30-year-old military veteran. I served in the country of Bosnia and served in the country of Iraq. I've also found out that all my grandfathers and everybody in my family has served in the military. Okay, I've researched it all the way back. I found that my 5th great grandfather served in the Confederacy. He was a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, those Confederate Armed Forces, which fought to make this country. You know, the decisions that were made after the Civil War is what built this country. It's ironic that this vote is today, seeing as how today is a salute to military personnel. Right here in this little pamphlet it says, to salute to military personnel of past, present, and future. My grandfather fought. He served in the military. He served for this country. He served for the state of Louisiana. He served for the state of Arkansas. He served for the South. And he served for all of us, for our freedoms today. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next we have Mr. Willie Bradford. Come forward, state your name and address for the record, sir. You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and to the body, this distinguished commission, and to my commissioner, Commissioner Bowman. And may I also congratulate Commissioner Pearson for his work here and him moving on. We appreciate your work, Pearson. Mr. Chairman, someone once said that there's nothing as powerful than an idea whose time has come. It has come before this body, the opportunity to do something that your predecessors did not do, and that is to start a new chapter in the lives of the citizens of this parish. In all due respect to the proponents of this idea, this is a different time. This is a different era. This is a different culture than when that flag was erected. The citizens of this community now request and ask of you to remove the flag so that it will reflect the diversity of this city, the diversity of this parish, so that we can now move on as a progressive parish, as a progressive city, and as a progressive state. I think the removal of that flag will send a strong message throughout this region and throughout this country that Caddo Parish is now a part of the new millennium, where we recognize the diversity of our citizens and we respect all our citizens, because we're not saying, Mr. Chairman, that this flag should be buried. We ask that it be removed from the public square, where we feel it brings shame upon a segment of the citizens, which is unfair. We're all a part of this parish, we're all a part of this environment, and we appreciate you in your actions today, and that is to vote to remove the flag so that we can move on in a new chapter in Caddo Parish. Thank you very kindly.
Next we have Mr. John David Long. Mr. Long, come forward, state your name and address for the record, sir, and you may proceed.
My name is John David Long, 318 West 70th Street, Shreveport, Louisiana. I've heard some things today that have very much upset me. It's not based upon fact. It's based upon what other people would have us believe. Dr. Martin Luther King said in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th census of his famous I Have a Dream speech 5 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beckoning light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of our captivity. Now, how many of you probably have ever heard that? I bet hardly any of you. Well, what Mr. King did not know is that he never read the Emancipation Proclamation, which said, as the states and parts of states wherein the people thereof respectively are this day in rebellion against the United States, the following to wit, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, except the parishes of St. Bernard, Plaquemine, Jefferson, St. John, St. Charles, St. James, Ascension, Assumption, Terrebonne, Fu, St. Mary, St. Martin, Orleans, including the city of New Orleans, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, now North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, except the 48 counties designated as West Virginia. Also the counties of Berkeley, Accomack, Northampton, Elizabeth, York, Princeton, and Norfolk, includes the cities of Norfolk and Portsmouth, and which accepted parts are for the present left precisely as if this proclamation were not issued. People of the commission, I will tell you, Abraham Lincoln freed no slaves with his Emancipation Proclamation. I am so glad you made your little dedication here to veterans before I came up, before I stepped up here, because I'm here to represent 8 men, my great-great-grandfathers, who did not own slaves, but each one had homes and families they were defending. Let me tell you, that monument and that flag up there is a representation not of racism, not of bigotry, but of Christian, patriotic, constitutionary liberty. You've been misled about what it means. You need a history lesson. The blue X represents the Christian cross of St. Andrew, the first disciple of Jesus Christ. The white border around that X represents the protection of God. The 13 stars, the 13 southern states of secession. The red field represents the blood of Christ. It was put on a second national stainless banner to show the purity of the cause for which these men fought. But they had to add the red bar in order to distinguish it between a flag of surrender or truce under battlefield conditions. They added the red bar to symbolize the blood sacrificed by those who gave their lives to protect their homes and their family and the Confederate cause, which was constitutional liberty. And I will tell you right now, through the blood of Christ, with the protection of God, we, the 13 states, united in our Christian fight for liberty. If you've got the nerve to vote against that flag, you vote against Christian liberty. You vote against people who believe in defending their homes. You vote to cover up a history that has been so disrespected, disregarded, and so maligned and misrepresented. If you've got the nerve to do that, you go right ahead. But I will tell you right now, I will curse you to the day you died, and I say, I saw the day, and I spoke there the day they took that flag down. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Next we have Mr. Azriel McLean.
Esteemed body, I'm here as a local clergyman to say that I would like to see the flag come down. Amen. Because first of all, let me say this.
Name and address for the record, please.
I'm Reverend Alvin G. McLean, local clergyman.
Address, sir.
6319 South Inwood Road, Shreveport, 71119. Let me say I'm here because I love this community. I grew up here. But we are divided, and symbols have a way of dividing. I too have military, families who fought in the military, and they swore allegiance to one flag, first of all. That is that flag, Stars and Stripes. And I said Stars and Stripes forever. But the flag brings back painful memory in our history. But it's time that Shreveport is going to move forward to psychologically and symbolically come back into the Union. I empathize with those in opposition, but let me say that I discovered, and you can tell by my skin complexion, I had relatives that owned slaves, and by the way, I discovered in my family history that I had a relative that fought in the 9th Brigade of the Louisiana Confederacy. But I also feel as an American, it's time for us to move on. Now, I remember reading words by a man named Alexander Stevenson, who was Vice President of the Confederacy, and he said his bedrock rested in the inferiority of the Negro or the black man. I don't think this community wants to live in a symbol that epitomizes those sentiments. I would like to see it taken down and perhaps put in a place, because we cannot escape the fact that the Civil War happened. We cannot escape the fact that Shreveport was the last city to surrender to the Union. But I think it should come down, because people from out of town come here and want to invest in our community, and they feel that we have not moved on. And they're not going to want to live here and invest and bring jobs here. I think this state has lost quite a few people in the last 30 years, and it's time to move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll have Mr. Craig B. Lee. Mr. Lee, if you come forward, state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Craig Lee, 1035 Eustis Street, Shreveport, Louisiana. It's interesting that I come down today. I'm definitely in support of my colleagues here. But I actually came down today to clear up some confusion as it relates to our 2012 proposal budget for the C.C. Antoine Black History Celebration. And the interesting thing about that is, you know, listening to the opposition in reference to the flag, C.C. Antoine, of course, is the person responsible for incorporating the city of Shreveport. And of course, he fought for the Union Army. One of the big things as it relates to our project is to bring about cultural diversity. And I applaud this group because they are cross-section of the community. I spoke to Commissioner Johnson today, and he had advised me that there was some confusion as it relates to our plan in terms of C.C. Antoine's house. The question came up, who actually controls the funds at the state level as it relates to the house? Basically, here's what you have, and I applaud the commissioners that voted to amend the budget this past year of 2011 budget, and those who went against it. And I told you guys that when the vote came down 6-5, even though we needed the 7th vote to approve it. Here's what you have in the city of Shreveport and the parish of Caddo. You got nonprofits who receive money and they don't execute what they're actually supposed to be doing. And the organization that was supposed to be edifying the brand of C.C. Antoine has not done so. They've received over the past decade anywhere from $500,000 to almost $1 million of funding, and none of the resources have gone to bring tourists into the city of Shreveport. Senator Greg Tarver, before he left the state senate, advocated for $300,000 to be in the budget at the state level to resurrect or reconstruct C.C. Antoine's house on Parent Street. That money is basically set up over the past decade. As a result of our work in terms of elevating C.C. Antoine as a tourism draw, you now have entities that are trying to either move that property downtown in the Shreveport Commons or basically try to partake that property somewhere else. We basically put it in our project to say we can actually resurrect that particular project and put it with our overall piece. But the money actually is at the state level and was designated to the African American Multicultural Tourism Group. But we are the vanguards of C.C. Antoine's legacy. We have participated in the coalition building with the C.C. Antoine Masonic Lodge, as well as Mr. Gary Joyner and Mr. Avery Brock, those particular historians on this issue. And I have this document that I wanted to give to all of the commissioners.
I believe you have about 30 seconds, sir.
Okay. The document just talks about Louisiana being #1 in percentage of black tourists in the state of Louisiana, and that is the focus of our efforts to generate significant tax revenue based on cultural tourism in Caddo Parish. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. We have no further cause for recognition. Let me make sure I don't have anything buried. I was a little late today. Excuse me for being late. I had an accident on I-20. I was tied up, so I got a little behind. Okay, so I think we've cleared out all the persons that wanted to speak, and I would just like to state that I'm very glad at what I've seen and heard here today.
There's Mountain Dew with double XP in there. Get as much as you can so you can rank up faster. Mountain Dew Game Fuel with double XP spotted. Target acquired. Let's move out.